We are all here today to learn from the true stars and experts, our students. So I want to maximize our time with them today. But I'd first like to share just a little bit about the Hope Forward vision and the student cohort experience. As you've heard time and time again today, higher education has a problem. So right now, 48 million Americans share a student debt load of $1.75 trillion, and it's only trending worse. We see financial barriers and the rising tuition costs not only influencing a student's decision of where they attend college, but should they even attend at all. A recent study from the Gates Foundation found that of 40% of the students who choose not to attend college do so solely because of the cost. This is millions of young talent. We then see also this impact on the college enrollment that is steadily declining, causing colleges and universities that have been around over 100 plus years to close their doors at the fastest rate to date. We have a problem, and if we want a different outcome, then we need to do something differently. And Hope College is raising their hand and saying, we have this idea, we want to do something different, and that something different is Hope Forward. Hope Forward is a pay it forward, or as I like to call it, give it forward tuition model. And we're piloting this right now on our campus. We have 58 Hope Forward students who are receiving their education fully funded through the generosity of others. They're spending their years preparing for a life of impact rooted in gratitude and generosity, and then they in turn have committed to annual generous giving back to Hope after they graduate so that future generations can have the same transformational opportunity. Something that I love about the Hope Forward application process is that it's not based on merit and it's not based on financial need. Instead, students are invited to describe an area of hopelessness that they see in their life, their community, or the world, and how would they want to bring it hope. The interview prompt asks students to consider hopelessness and the hope that they want to bring. So just a few examples. One of our sophomores has an idea to develop affordable housing in our nation's capital with hopes to attract and retain diverse populations in government. Another has an idea for an easy-to-use app for children in the foster care system to privately and securely report their well-being. And another, he wants to be a chiropractor to care for those in labor-intensive positions without easy access to affordable healthcare. Our 58 amazing students represent 11 different countries and 19 US states. They're a diverse group in every sense of the form. Various identities, experiences, perspectives, passions, goals, and ambitions. They're studying to be doctors and physicians, physicists, social workers, researchers, nurses, teachers, therapists, artists, nurses, business leaders, and accountants, and so much more. Our students are shaping our future. They are our future. And can I tell you, our future looks bright. You see, what if our colleges and our universities not only provided an accessible education for these students and countless others just like them, but also prepared them to run fearlessly and uninhibited toward a hurting world? Hope Forward breaks the cycle of debt and loans, and instead prepares students for a lifetime of giving their talent, giving it forward, so that future generations can have the same opportunity. In a nutshell, it's a move from scarcity to abundance. We are almost 2 years into this pilot, and we're learning a lot. The headlines are we're seeing interest, we're seeing impact, and we're seeing investment. We're seeing the interest in this model from students and their families alike. We're also seeing the impact that it's having on learning. Instead of working countless jobs over the nights and weekends and summers, our students get to learn. In fact, 95% of our students are involved in co-curriculars like leading student organizations, meaningful internships in and around the community, and or conducting research with faculty, all of which are high-impact practices that elevate classroom learning. And we're seeing investment from the students. The cohort came in at an average or about slightly below average GPA compared to their peers, and yet after 1 year in Hope Forward, their GPAs have risen above the rest. And all of our 58 students who started at Hope have stayed at Hope, giving us a 100% persistence and retention rate. With excellent academics here at Hope and strong campus partnerships, many of who are in this room today, Hope College, we are all in on our mission to prepare students for lives of leadership and service in a global society. And Hope Forward elevates this mission. What better way to lead and to serve globally than to give and impact generations to come? See, Hope Forward makes us more of who we already are. And generous hearts and generous minds change people, and changed people change the world. I know I speak for my colleagues when I say that this vision gets us out of bed every single day. Alongside our program coordinator, Erin Drews. Erin, where are you at? That's Erin Drews, everybody. She's our program coordinator, and she is remarkable. So alongside Erin and our integrative learning team led by Casey Stevens, and then our Hope Forward Program Advisory Board, current and former, and so many of you are in the room today. We get to help students develop virtues like gratitude and generosity, curiosity, and hope. We do this through integrated and applied learning, paired with habitual practice. If you know me, I often refer to virtue development like a muscle. So the cohort student experience, it's not a crash diet or a crash course. Instead, it's practiced over and again through habitual practice. This is so that students get to graduate. They graduate generous, grateful, hopeful as they enter their workplaces, their neighborhoods, their families, their places of worship, and their communities. So without further ado, let's get to the magic. Let's meet the students and our wonderful moderator, Jim McFarland. If you haven't met Jim yet, you're in for a treat. Jim is an award-winning freelance writer, editor, proofreader, media coordinator, and marketing consultant. He's a proud Hope alum and a trustee. And most recently, he is the most recent member of the Michigan Journalism Hall of Fame, where he will be inducted next month. So please join me in welcoming Jim and our students.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole, and ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time, so thank you for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, Flying Dutch people, boys and girls of all ages, thank you so much for being here. I have been looking forward to this moment for many weeks since I got a chance to meet several of these young people in a virtual meeting. Malcolm and I were talking, actually, Mr. Gladwell and I were chatting the other day, and he said to me that he said to Matt Scogan, "You're doing this all wrong. Don't go out and solicit money. Send these people because they're so outstanding. They'll sell Hope Forward for you." And in getting to know them individually and a group, I cannot agree more. They have brightened my heart and spirit as to the future of young people at Hope College. They're amazing to know, and I want you to get to know them now in their coming out party, really. Before they're human beings for the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen. From my right to your left, I think that's right, Cora Adam is a freshman at Hope. She's from Minneapolis. She's planning to study biology and classics, and she's interested in pursuing medicine, especially public health and preventative care research. She's engaged in the Pre-Health Professions Club, Hope Catholics, and the annual pull on campus. Anna, we had a vote last night, I'd get her name wrong. Anna Whittle is a sophomore from Louisville, or Louisville, I should say, an environmental studies major with minors in peace and justice studies and women and gender studies. Her grandfather was a professor at Hope in the 70s, and she grew up hearing stories of Hope College, how wonderful it was, and Holland, Michigan. She's so thankful to be a part of the inaugural Hope Forward cohort. Sydney Miller is a freshman at Hope, pursuing a degree in nursing. Her dream is to help families and babies in the NICU so she may provide the same hope to them that other medical providers gave to her family. Yoonji YJ Lee, I love YJ, I just love it. He's a sophomore at Hope, studying health and physical education. He's from Seoul, South Korea, but grew up a missionary kid in Chiang Mai, Thailand. He hopes to change and impact high schoolers and share the gospel as a teacher and coach. He believes that he is part of Hope Forward and understands that God is the one who led him here to Hope. Stephen Awad, he's so cute. I love that guy. Stephen Awad is a freshman at Hope studying biology on the pre-med track. He was born in New Jersey. His parents are Egyptian. He lived in Dubai, moved to Maryland, and now in the Pinnacle, Holland, Michigan. He hopes to pursue a career in medicine as a neurologist and sees the importance of having Christian doctors who excel in science by holding them firm to their faith. We also have Davy. David Aruhu is a freshman at Hope College studying biology. He's from Brazil, but grew up as a missionary kid in Bangkok, Thailand. He hopes to pursue a career in biomedical research and use his gifts and talents to help others because he sees that it is the least he can do for everything God has done for him. So, are you guys familiar with the term elevator pitch? Okay. The richest man in the world is in the elevator with you. You can't believe it, but there he is. You've got the time from the ground floor to the top floor to tell him about Hope Forward. That's the pitch. So, Cora, let's start with you. What would you tell this guy about Hope Forward? Sell it.
Okay, here I go. All right. Hope Forward is more than a scholarship because it's funding education for a student, but also students in the future. And what's beautiful about Hope Forward is that it's more about giving than receiving. Anyone can get a scholarship that the school is willing to give, but not everyone can have the opportunity to receive a scholarship with tremendous gratitude that they are willing to push it forward into generations to come.
Well done. Ding, ding, ding. David, can you add, augment to that?
I think popping off with Cora, I think what I would say also is that, it's way more than just a financial model. It's just generosity at its purest form. It's basically you're receiving something that is coming from me, something that I never thought I would be able to receive. But now that I have it, I can't but give it back to other students who may be in the same shoes as I am. And more than that, just what you put in is what you get out of it. And I can't wait to see what this will become in the future.
Amen. Sydney?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing about Hope Forward is just hope. Like, you're giving all these families the hope that maybe they didn't think they would get. Like, for me, college is expensive. Like, I didn't think I'd end up from Iowa to Michigan, and I didn't know I was gonna, get out of my home. But I think for a lot of people, that hope that this is a new journey God's providing for you, and just being able to give that back to people the way these generous donors have given it to me is just really incredible. So,
thank you. Stephen?
I think it's also, and Cora kind of touched on this, it's a character scholarship. It's not one that's just based on a checkbox that we're saying, well, I have this GPA and this number, and so I want, money and scholarship. And I think we get this education and we can give out of an overflow of not just being financially able to do that, but of heart and of generosity and of receiving and giving out of that, rather than just out of an obligation that we just have to give to get something, but rather we give because we want to. We give because we've been given.
Anna?
Yeah, I think when I think of Hope Forward, I think of community, and the community we are able to form with one another, and the larger community of hope, and just being a part of a community that wants to all seek positive impact after college and not be burdened by student debt. So we are in this together as a family almost, and we have each other's back.
And YJ?
I would tell the richest guy in the world that this is something, it's like the biggest investment and trust a college can give to a student. And when a 17 or 18-year-old is given that much investment, is invested by that much, I feel like it changes your daily life. It really does.
Well said all. I think they might be interested to know how you each heard of Hope Forward and what motivated you to apply for this program. Let's go back to front. YJ, you start.
Oh, man. I'm gonna be dead honest. I just needed a scholarship. I was looking for colleges. I was thinking I should go to Korea. and America was still a possibility, but it's just too much money. So I was like, hopefully I was just praying and God will hopefully find a way. And I just got an email from Mr. Crawley saying there's a Hope Forward scholarship that's brand new. I think it was called Pay It Forward at that time. And it's just, I was like, might as well apply, right? Might as well shoot my shot. So there it was.
Anna?
Yes, like Jim said earlier, my grandpa taught here in the 60s and 70s, so I've heard of Holland, but I'd already applied to Hope, been accepted to Hope, and it was on my college list to be considered, but I received a postcard in the mail January of my senior year inviting me to apply to this new program that I hadn't known existed, or it hadn't existed, so that's how I heard about it. And then during COVID, we interviewed on Zoom, we wrote our essays, and here we are.
Now, you hadn't heard of it before you got a card in the mail, is what you said?
Yeah, so I got a postcard in the mail.
It could have been junk mail, you didn't know, you read it and said, this is for real?
Yeah.
All right. Steven?
I think an admissions rep came all the way to Maryland to a graduating class of 17 students to talk about hope, and she was so good at her job. She was great, and I wanted to come to Hope before even getting Hope Forward or receiving anything on, like, knowing what Hope Forward was, because Hope was just very academically strong, and just as someone that's going into medicine and someone that wants to be involved in research and give an opportunity, I wanted to come to Hope. And then my admissions rep was like, you should apply to this scholarship. And I was like, sure. And I think I think a lot of it is like, I don't know, we stepped in knowing a little bit about Hope Forward, but I don't think we realized that it was more than just a scholarship, and being in it, you realize it's like a program and it's a community. And so that was refreshing, even just going to the interviews and hearing what they're looking for and why you're there.
Did that change your opinion at all? Did you find yourself saying, what am I getting into? Is this more than I just want a scholarship and now I'm doing this big thing? Did that change at all?
Right, I mean, yes, because one of the questions I think that people might be thinking is, well, if you're getting a tuition free, then do you not care about your education as much, or do you not like give as much as you would otherwise? And I think it's the other way around. I think when we're given the opportunity, we know we get as much as we put in, and we realize that it is part of something so much greater. Like it's others focused, and I think that helps us be others focused in how much we want to give, and I think pushes us to do better in all aspects, just because we love the vision and we want to give back.
Mm-hmm. Sydney, I want you to answer the question, but I also want to ask you about your essay, and maybe you could explain to these folks the process involved after you decided you wanted to be part of this. What did you have to do?
Sure, yeah. So for me, I applied to like 40 schools. Like, I was that person. I had my list. I applied to Hope literally 2 days before the deadline. So it was such a God thing for me, like finding this place. Nothing just seemed right. And when I came to visit Hope and talked with Nicole and talked with my admissions counselor, who would just send me pictures of the sunset every night. Like, it's just such a beautiful place. And I'm just like, how could you just not love cute little Holland? I mean, really. But once I applied to Hope, my admissions counselor was like, Hope Forward, like, you gotta apply, like, you're like a shoo-in. I'm like, what's Hope Forward? And I guess when I found out, first we wrote an essay, and the essay for me, it was just about like hope and just like, what does that mean to you? And I think my essay, and then later on my presentation about like hope and dark parts, they kind of worked hand in hand. My little sister was born with Down syndrome, so we spent lots of time in the hospitals and the NICU, and just, going from hospital to hospital, they just change your view on like who she is. And one place we're so sorry, like mourning the loss of what her life could have been, and at another place, it's a celebration. Like, she's so beautiful, we love her. Like, I just want to be that hope for families when they are mourning the loss of what could have been. I want to show them the other side. Like, look at this brand new life that you never would have gotten to experience. Wow. So that's what my presentation was about. And yeah, I think that's just such a beautiful question for everyone to ponder, how you can bring hope into the darkness of the world.
Okay. Ooh. All right. All right. I need a moment. Sorry. Davey, in addition to the essay, there's always also the presentation. Walk us through that along with your answer.
Yes, so do I say like how I found or just
Sure,
what the
yeah, go for it all, man.
Yeah.
Shoot your shot.
I guess, so for me, there was one week in my school that there was it was called College Week, and every day there would be kind of like a little fair of different universities from maybe around Thailand or Southeast Asia, but also the US that would come and would kind of present about their university. And there was one special lunch it was a pizza lunch, and it was just Hope College. And that's how I found out about Hope College. And it was also when I heard about the Hope Forward, program. And at that time, honestly, I just thought, oh great, it's just another essay I have to write now, because every time I would get like an acceptance letter or something, it was just, although I would feel happy, it wasn't anything. It was just a piece of paper, because I knew that I couldn't afford anything else. So I had to just scavenger hunt through the university website like a madman and looking through all the little fine print just to see if there's any available scholarships that I could possibly take. But even through that, yeah. And in the presentation aspect of the Hope Forward application, I presented on basically with my parents being missionaries in Thailand, and it was also during the pandemic time, so a lot of things were shut down, primarily with my father's ministry. Everything was just down, nothing was going. But then and also in Thailand, in the area I was staying, there was a lot of people who were facing food insecurity. So then I believe that, everyone, and that God has a purpose for everyone, and I knew that at that moment, I don't know how to explain it, but there was something in me that told me that maybe I have to do something in terms of food insecurity in my general area. So I designed a project where I sponsored 5 families over a course of 3 months with food. And basically the amazing thing about that is that not only was that basically these families were able to be given hope that they could, save money and, get another day or, have food, but through that, this program, my father's ministry was able to reopen because it allowed an opportunity for the church in Thailand to step in once again into the community and help that. So, yeah, that was my presentation.
All right. Wow. Cora?
I wanted to go to a school that would change my life, and Hope College is on the Colleges That Change Lives list, so I was intrigued. And I also applied to probably like 25 different colleges, and I wrote a lot of essays, a lot of interviews, but Hope Forward was amazing. The interview process was beautiful because it looked at my heart. So it didn't matter really my test scores and my GPA, though I'm sure those were factored in. I was really able to be myself. I didn't have to try to be super like academic and make like a really long essay. Instead, I got to share about what I was passionate about, what I cared about, and who I wanted to impart like my positivity and happiness towards. And for the presentation, for the interview, I wanted to make Holland a blue zone. And a blue zone is a place where the instances of chronic disease are lower, and it's from lifestyle changes such as diet and like exercise and promoting healthy community. And when I visited Holland, I was here in the summer, and it was beautiful. There was people walking outside, and there's the farmers market, and I wanted to be a part of that community. And I think that's where I could make an impact.
Yeah, right. All right. Yes. You guys are doing great. One thing I was concerned about is your integration into the campus life, because not that you're necessarily set apart, but you've got a mission along with your educational process. Anna has conquered that in spades. Anna is the president of Green Hope on campus, and she's also the chapter lead of the Students Demand Action for Gun Sense organization. Anna, would you tell us about either or both of those organizations?
Yeah, definitely. I came to Hope with a lot of passion, and I really wanted to get involved. And it can be overwhelming the first week to go to club fair and see like hundreds of clubs that you want to be a part of. But I knew my passion for sustainability. I wanted to be a part of Green Hope, and the leaders were transitioning, so I was offered a position to help lead the club. And that's what I did my Hope Forward essay and presentation on, so I knew that that was where my heart was and how I wanted to serve the Hope community. And then we recently got approved for a Students Demand Action for Gun Sense chapter. So I really also was passionate about the prevention of gun violence and wanted to be a part of changing the culture around campus of how we talk about these issues and how we can prevent future instances of gun violence.
Outstanding. Tell me this, and anyone can answer this if you like. We don't have to go down the aisle. Do you have a Hope Who? And by that I mean, is there someone or someones, let's keep it to one if we can, who has really impacted you since you've been here at Hope? For me, it was my freshman English professor, Jack Riddle, who I think inspired me to become a writer. I owe my career in part to his inspiration. We're still friends to this day. The fact I have a professor older than me who's still alive is pretty amazing. But that would be if someone asked me, who did I take away from this college, it would be that man. Do you have someone like that at this point in your educational journey?
I think it sounds cliche, but President Scogan. And like,
Is he here?
I don't think so. But I think he just does such a good job. I know he's an intelligent man, and he's very smart, but he also does such a good job at talking about Jesus every time he's up here. And not in a way that's exclusive, not in a way that compromises being intelligent or being welcoming or being open, but in a way that puts Jesus first and lets him do the work. And I admire that as a person who wants to go into medicine and knows that medicine is a field where you just have to maybe just be intelligent and, let your feelings not be a part of what you do. And I think there is always a space for Jesus, and Jesus should be the first. And I think that drives me wanting to excel in medicine. And I see that in what President Scogan does, and just a model like this that is made to be funded like a church is. Like, there's just so much hope and so much just pointing to who Jesus is, and not just this model, but in what I want to do and how he presents it.
Amazing. Anyone else?
I'll go. For me, it's everyone in the Center of Global Engagement, those staff. I feel like Amy, Kristen, Kendra, Katie, Jasmine, Habib, of course Habib. They were all so helpful in the beginning, and I feel like if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to settle in to Hope that as easily as I did. So, yeah.
Anyone else?
I feel like the professors here know us and see us, and being at Hope College, we're able to develop those relationships with our professors, so I can't name just one because there's so many that I've formed relationships with and have impacted me in many meaningful ways. And I think that's also a part of the Hope Forward vision, is moving away from this transactional relationships with students and professors and moving towards transformational relationships amongst all people at the college.
So you have Hope, who, many who's. And let me just jump in before I lose time. We were backstage getting ready to go on, and there's, of course, there's nerves and there's excitement, how we can do it. And someone said, organically, let's pray. And we got in a circle and did a popcorn prayer. And I was just thinking to myself, this is so cool because these guys are going out here in front of this audience and they're nervous, but they know where their strength comes from. And they took the time to say, let's get in a circle and ask him to help us out here. And as you know, in the world outside of Hope College, that doesn't often happen. And to get to see it when people of your age, sorry, you're kind of young, is just remarkable to me. What have the challenges been in Hope Forward to this point? And do you know, I think you know the other Hope Forward students as well. I mean, these 6 brave souls came out here, but there are dozens of people, as you know, in the program over the course of a few semesters. So what have the challenges been? Anyone?
Well, for me, I'm from a small town in Iowa, and as you can imagine, there's not a lot of diversity there. So I think just, just like hearing everyone's stories and just like how different our lives are, I wouldn't say it's a challenge, but it's almost a barrier in a sense. Like, how can you relate with these people if you have different experiences? But I think Hope Forward has brought us together and shown us, like, yeah, you may have different backgrounds, but our hearts are the same. Our hearts are for Jesus, our hearts are for generosity, and our hearts are for hope. So just having this program, and I don't know, I just think it's shown us a lot about how different backgrounds can form the closest relationships. And,
That's great.
yeah.
There's diversity in Iowa. There's corn and wheat and barley. And there's all
Soybeans.
kinds of, whatever you want. I don't understand. Anyone else? Challenges?
I would say perhaps a challenge, but something we've bonded over is that most of us are not from Michigan, as that was one of the requirements when we applied, was being out of the region and the surrounding states of Michigan. So coming to Hope College, which traditionally is made up of a lot of students from Michigan, we've definitely felt that and seen that, and we've bonded with one another over the distance from our homes and even the international students being in another country. So we definitely are a diverse group geographically, coming from all over the world. So
It's open. You don't have to answer, but if you want to, that's great. Cora?
I can add. Okay. Yeah, speaking of bonding from being far away, we had a game night over winter break, and that was fun because Hope Forward students got together and we played games. Another challenge, even though I see it as an opportunity, because we've received this scholarship, a lot of other students on campus, like if they know that I'm a Hope Forward student, they're like, oh, Cora, like you don't have to pay for school, like you're so lucky, I wish I could be you. And trying to like explain what Hope Forward means to me, that has been something that has enriched my gratitude for the scholarship, but also allowed me to see like other students and like how student debt is like really a problem and a burden.
And going off with that, I feel like with me, and I don't know if other people can also relate, but I sometimes struggle with, I guess you can say like it's imposter syndrome or something, when it's like, I look at people around me and I see that there's so many other people that seem way more deserving or even worthy of this scholarship. And sometimes I look into my life and I tell myself, like, I don't know, like this is something I guess I wrestle with God sometimes. It's like, I see myself as just, we're all human, we're all, at its core, we all sin and stuff like that, but the things that God has done for me and my family, it's just unimaginable. And to think that I've been receiving this, I know like, yeah, I know everything happens for a reason, and I know that I trusted in God before, and now, you can see why that led me. I can know that I can continue trusting in God, and I'm just so excited to see where He'll take me. But I guess it's just kind of those doubts that every person may have in a similar situation like this, and yeah.
Yeah, I think, sorry, can I?
No, good,
Okay.
no.
I think something that Nicole reminded us of, I think the first time we met, is that we are people first, student second, and then Hope Forward and everything else third. And I think that it has been helpful because I think we're reminded that we are not the scholarship that we get. We are not just recipients of a scholarship and money that gets us through, but we are people first, and We want to be people that love first and people that are, I think, outward focused. And that's been, I think, really helpful for us and kind of, with people, whether they're can't resonate with us being Hope Forward or we can't resonate with them. I think it's just been helpful to be outward focused. And this has helped us not look at ourselves, I think, and look at others.
Anyone else? Before they cut me off, is Nicole back there? Okay. How has this experience, if at all, changed your view of investment, in generosity, in higher education, in, to use the cliche, paying it forward? Has this experience changed your perceptions in any way from what they might have been? Anyone jump in?
Hope Forward has changed me because I'm more generous. I feel like I was generous before, but now I have even more of a reason to, and it's also impacted my family. Like, this scholarship has allowed me to go to college debt-free, and my family is also more generous. We're able to be more charitable with our time and our finances. And because I'm planning to give back to Hope Forward after I graduate, I started my retirement investments, and I'm ready.
Remind me to give you a hug when this is over. That's
For me, I think how it changed me is it made me see, I guess, we all keep saying how beautiful Hope Forward is. It's love at its purest form as well as generosity, and it's the way it changed for me is if this has been given to me, why not give it back to someone else? And this beautiful cycle of love, of giving back, it's just something that I'm always, every day I wake up and I'm just reminded and in awe of that, and I just really love that, Yeah.
Sydney?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how to follow that up.
Do your best.
But I just think of the donors who just so generously funded our education, and how could you not just be excited to fund the people in generations to come? College is way too expensive, and I think it takes a toll on so many families and dampers a lot of time, and I just think that being able to receive a scholarship through generosity like this is just something that's really incredible and really innovative, and I'm just so excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think I would not have thought that I would be in my freshman year going, I can't wait to graduate and have a job and give back. Wow. You don't usually do that in a freshman year. You're usually I gotta figure my stuff out, and I still have to do that. But I am outside focused already, and I think we talk about generosity, and it's not just financial. I think we realize that it's time, it's listening to people. I think it's not just a lot of us have big goals that we want to achieve, but I think it's the small day-to-day conversations that we have with people that we just want to be able to give back that way, if any other way that we can afterwards.
That's excellent. Anna?
Yeah, when I think of this question, it makes me think about how there's so many different ways to be generous, and no two people are going to be generous in the same way. And kind of like the people sitting here, some want to be doctors, some want to work at nonprofits, others want to be missionaries in our cohort. So what we can give will look different, and what we give is nothing is required. We just have signed a covenant to give what we can, and I think that's the beautiful part of what this program is developing. It's developing generous hearts at its core, and it's not about requirements or paying back a certain number. It's about living into generosity and being generous with finances and your time and your talents.
YJ?
I feel like everybody has tough days, and for me, there's days where I feel like I don't belong, or if I'm not supposed to be here and I'm not worthy enough, but having this scholarship and just having Hope's trust and Hope's investment in me, it makes me go through those hard days and work harder, and instead of just going to bed early, I work hard, and I feel like in everything I do, just just the fact that Hope wants me to be here changes everything.
This is a question that Mr. Gladwell asked me yesterday, and I had an answer, but I'm curious to get your perspective. Do you think this model could be replicated in a non-Christian college with what we have in terms of giving and wanting to give and being guided by the Holy Spirit? Could this happen at North Jersey University? You know,
I
What do you
think
think?
you can find Christianity anywhere. Like, Christianity isn't confined to a Christian college, and even if you're not Christian, I think a lot of Christian values are found in lots of good people, and I think just it's about having a good heart. And yeah, like for me, a lot of that comes from knowing Jesus and loving Jesus, but for some people who don't have that, that doesn't mean that they don't have that same love and generosity. So I think it could work.
Anybody else? Laura?
Yeah, I absolutely think it could work because like a scholarship like Hope Forward, it's very freeing because there's no like income share. So once you graduate, you get to choose how much you want to give back. And so it gives you freedom to be able to pursue what you want to pursue and like do what you want with your life. And I think that is attractive for people who go to school.
I like. Oh wait, sorry.
No,
Oh wait.
it's all you.
No,
No,
you
no.
go. You go.
Oh, please.
Okay, I'll go. I guess, yeah, no, it definitely can happen in a non-Christian college because I think it's the program in itself we're investing because we believe in it, and I feel like when other universities, other places believe in this dream, like how Hope College is doing right now, then it can happen everywhere, you know. And I'm just, you know, this is just a start. I'm just so excited to see how this will go. You know.
I think it can, and I mean the hope and the dream is that it does. I think it definitely helps that we are secure in our love for Jesus, and that helps us start this. And so I think the security of we don't sign a contract to say we have to. And I think part of that beginning security is knowing that we love Jesus, love people, want to give back. And so I think yes, and the dream is that we can, but I think it definitely is a boost and help that we love Jesus so that we can start this and point people to this, and if anything, point people to Jesus through this.
I can't speak for the rest of you, but I am so impressed by these 6 people. And I believe we want to have time for Q&A.
Yes. We want to invite you all into the conversation. So if you have questions, I believe we have volunteers who have mics and can pass you a mic. If you have a question, just pop your hand up.
We did great. No one's question.
Hello. Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Hi, everybody. It's such a pleasure to hear from all of you, to see your smiling faces, and to hear your stories of future impact, because we know it's going to happen from hearing what all of you are about, your belief systems, and how you came to be here at Hope. I'm curious about a certain aspect of education that I know everybody's talking about right now, or they should be if they're not, and that's something experiential education. Right? So we look at learning that's happening in classrooms and then learning that's happening outside of classrooms, and we're thinking about the balance between the two. I'm curious for any of you or each of you, what part does experiential education have in your experience as a Hope Forward student? And when I think experiential education, I think about off-campus study. Is this something that has been talked about to you all? Do you all have ideas about going off-campus to continue to build on that wealth of knowledge and expertise that you're looking for to accomplish your dreams? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, so there are actually 2 members of the sophomore cohort that are abroad right now and missing out on this wonderful conference, but living wonderfully abroad. And Hope Forward covers up to 2 semesters off campus, fully tuition, which is such a blessing to be able to travel and not worry about where the money is coming from and getting to have those experiences that are life-changing. And so I know myself and many other members of Hope Forward plan to use 2 semesters off campus to see the world and get internships and just see the global society that we are going to enter into after college.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Question in the back? Oh, Paul's running a mic to you.
Thanks. I'm curious if any of you, and some of you touched on this in some of your answers, but I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your parents and your family's relationship to the college, and if you think that's distinct or different because of the experience that you're having in Hope Forward.
Yeah, my family had never heard of Hope College, nothing, but you know, since learning about Hope Forward, my grandma is a super fan. She wants me to thank President Scogan personally for her. So it's just such a beautiful thing, and I think my family is so excited to be a part of it, even if they're not directly. They're donating, they're giving back, they're invested in this, and they're telling their friends, and I think more people from my high school are applying this year. It's just, I think just spreading the word and spreading the generosity around.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think Hope Forward, it's made my parents think a little bit differently about what education can be. And I think for my younger brother, they're definitely going to be more receptive to like different colleges, or to just challenge the idea of like what is a like top university or top college. And that's exciting because there's a lot of opportunities out there. And then my parents, they are excited about Hope College, and they are planning to come and visit me at some point. I have no family in Michigan, so that would be nice.
And beyond Anna, how many of you have ever heard of Hope College before now? Nobody. Hope? No? Okay. I understand.
First, thank you all so much. It's truly a gift to hear so much about your experiences and what you're learning, and the ways that you're thinking about the world. It's truly an inspiration. Nicole mentioned generosity, and Nicole, you mentioned virtue as almost an exercise that you have to do. And every once in a while, I do a new workout, and I'm like, oh, I did not know that I had muscles in those places. The next day, it hurts. And there's some growth that happens through that. And I'm wondering, we've heard a lot about the virtue of generosity, but what are some of the other virtues that maybe you weren't aware of, or things that you have learned that you just didn't know existed before being part of the Hope Forward program?
I think intentionality has been one that has been more important, and I think I've realized a lot more. I'm naturally an introvert. I do not approach people. It's not in my natural inclination to go to someone and talk or introduce myself, but I think there is an intentionality about what we do, about the program, about just who we are as people, that we want to love people. We want to have people know that they can be known and loved, fully known and fully loved. And I think that's something that can only come if we're intentional. And I think we're intentional with each other. We're encouraged to be intentional with each other, but also serve a community, be built in a way that is, again, outward focused. And that can only be done if we're intentional and looking outside rather than looking inside.
Yes, you do.
Thanks. I'm going to stand up. You all give me a lot of hope. My name's Ann Morano. I'm the executive director of the Colleges That Change Lives organization, Socorro. I don't know if that was scripted, but I'm literally apoplectic. that you just said that. It's been a gift to be here, and I'm just getting squishy because of everything you've said. And so as I launch, no joke, people, our East Coast tour on Friday, bringing the message of the 44 colleges that change lives, Hope is one of them, to students and counselors and families across the country, as really profound, powerful brand ambassadors with excellent pitches, even though you didn't know you had them. What do I tell counselors, students, and families about this place to get them as excited as you are after discovering it kind of randomly? Oh, and also, thanks for shouting out the admissions office. I already texted Greg Kern.
I think what stands out to me is that Hope College cares about people, and we're people first, human first, like Nicole always reminds us, and we're student second, and everything else third. So really, Hope is a place where we feel like humans first, and we can take care of our basic needs and like mental health and just succeed as people first, and then in the classroom, and then in the programs and clubs and organizations we're a part of. But really, it just starts with treating us as people first.
They had to
Someone
go on
work
the
on that.
backside,
Pam,
too.
I think you're in the room, public affairs and marketing.
I feel like some people get worried that with this scholarship, they're making Hope cheap, but they're just making it affordable. They're not making it cheaper. The education here is still top notch. Everything is great. So if that's a worry, I would tell them that. Yeah.
And Hope College is a really good institution. Like, we're right there with Michigan. We're right there with all these big name schools, and I think that's also forgotten about as like a smaller Christian school, but it's really good academics, so I think that's also a good pitch.
Yeah, Hope College is rooted in faith and has strong academics, and it will allow us to succeed in many different ways. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, and I guess just as how Jesus has the ability to change each and every one of us, I feel like this program is going to change everything very fast. And to be part of a change like this, it's just so exciting. So I don't know, and I feel like to be on the brink of innovation, on the brink of this, it's almost as if we're going through like a giant jungle, cutting through the leaves and everything, but there is a path we know, and we can follow, and why not be a part of that?
You're being a part of building the program. YJ and I, last year, we were the first cohort to go through this, and we can see how the program has changed for these freshmen and how it's going to continue to change once they give their feedback. So you're going to be a part of building something special.
Did you catch that? They're freshmen and sophomores. Like, they're amazing. Okay, we have time for one more question, and I saw a hand over there. Molly, someone's coming to you.
So you guys have talked a lot about like how Hope Forward is more than just a scholarship, and it's also a program, and we do a lot to bond as a cohort. And so I know that when I received the scholarship, I didn't know what that was going to look like. And so I was wondering if you could speak more to like, what do we do as a cohort? What kinds of things do we do when we meet? And what is Hope Forward besides just the scholarship? What do we do outside of that?
I think one of my favorite things that we've done as a cohort has been serving. We went and served at different places as a cohort, and I mean, we also I think we just have fun together. Like, that's something that we just do, and we get to know each other, and we know each other as more than just a program. We know each other as just students that have the same vision to love people and change the way we think about people and about education and about what it means to be at a college, but also be a people that that see people as humans first, and that have fun together in that. And I know we've had like each cohort has set their expectations, and we've like signed a whole like paper, or it was a Google Doc covenant, yeah. But like we've talked about that, and we laugh and we do things that are funny and we don't take ourselves seriously, but we also care and we get to know each other.
And you know, these relationships you're building now, you don't know it yet, will last you the rest of your lives. My fraternity brothers, when I won received the Distinguished Alumni Award a few years ago, I told a few Cosmos, because they lived in town, and I thought they'd be nice if they showed up. Cosmos can't keep a secret. 40 of my fraternity brothers showed up for the ceremony from as far away as San Diego and Maine. They flew in because Cosmos don't get honored like that every day. But it's just the fact that these relationships you're building will last you the rest of your lives. And I told some of you in our virtual meeting, 20, 30 years from now, when this model is standard across the nation, when this idea of paying it forward, hope forward, becomes just ingrained in our national mindset, you people will be like historic. You're the trendsetters, you're the groundbreakers. You're like Gandhi. You are leading a path that other people will follow, and you're the first people to do it. So I salute you on this daring, brave, bold, adventurous journey that you're taking, and I wish the best for each and every one of you.
That was a treat. To close, we want to invite you all to participate in a cohort practice that we do called gratitude shoutouts. So I'm going to give you a prompt, and this is audience participation, okay? So I'm going to give you a prompt, and then you're to shout out, no need a mic, just shout out, what are you grateful for today and at the summit? Hope forward. Yes. These students. Yes.
Admissions office.
Yes.
This opportunity to be together. Matt Stogan.
Let's keep it going.
It's my dad.
Spring is coming.
Amen. Well, amen to all of that. And before can we just give a massive thank you to these students and to Jim?